everybody, my name is Michelle and in this video I'm going to share with you my October TBR. So, biggest cliche ever, and I feel like I say this in every single video, but I cannot believe it's already October. This part of the year, like September, October, November, they fly by so fast. I feel like it's going to be in the blink of an eye and it's already Christmas again, but anyway, let's start with October first. So October, of course, is the spooky season, but if you know me a little bit, if you have been following me, you know that I'm not really that much about the spooky season. We don't really celebrate Halloween here in the Netherlands. I mean, I'm sure there are some people who do it, but it's not really a big thing. I never grew up with it, and also scary movies, I don't like them because they scare the crap out of me. If I watch a scary movie, I will not be able to sleep for like a week if I'm lucky. There was one time it was more than that. I couldn't sleep for almost a month. Scary books are okay, but also not really, I don't know. I feel like I do read thrillers, but I prefer to read them during the summer, even though I didn't read that much thrillers during this summer. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is that this TBR is not really going to be a special spooky one because I don't really do that during October. Maybe I will change my mind during the month and I will pick like a spooky book or something, but overall I'm not really someone who does that. I feel like there are lots of people who do that and that's great. And I'm sure there are special October and Halloween readathons going around, but it's just really not my thing. I don't really have a connection with that. I'm all about Christmas. Like, I love Christmas and I love fall and the entire atmosphere of it, but just Halloween and the spookiness, not really doing it for me. So my TBR of this month has been randomly chosen just on what I'm feeling like right now. I've also tried to keep in mind that this month is going to be very busy because I have lots of school things to do and I also have lots of things to prepare before I'm going to move house in November. So I haven't made it too ambitious, I haven't made it too big, and I've also added some easier books for me. But yeah, maybe I should just start with this TBR and tell you what I'm planning to read in October. So right off the start, I did lie a little bit because I do have one book that is very specific towards the spooky season, I guess. And it's a book that I've already started way back in April, I think. But anyway, that is Wedges of Ashes and Ruin, Ash and Ruin by E. Latimer. So I started this, I think, in April or May. I've read half of it and then I put it down because I wasn't really feeling it at the moment. But from what I've remembered from it, which isn't a lot to be honest, but from what I still remember from it, I did enjoy it and it was definitely very spooky and it's mostly about witches. So the premise of this book is that it's about a girl named Dinah and she lives in a conservative Irish town. She struggles with OCD, she has an absentee mother, and also she has been recently outed as bisexual in her very conservative town. But also she's trying to ascend to become a full witch and there are lots of other things that are currently happening in her town. So it's about witches and it's based on Irish folklore from what I've gathered. I feel like even though I've read half of it, I still don't really know that much about the premise, which is saying something. So yeah, it really wasn't the right time for me to read this in April, but I sort of looked at it today and was like, yeah, I do want to finish this one. Probably should reread the first half as well, because I've definitely some freshening up to do with what happened before that. But I thought, well, let's do one book that is sort of October related. Let's do this one. And I think it shouldn't be hard to get into because I've already read the first half. And even though I do want to read that bit, it will probably not come as a complete surprise what is happening there. So you know, why not? Let's just try to finish this one in October, because also it really annoys me when I've started a book and I haven't finished it yet because it just irritates me. So why not try to get this one out of the way? That doesn't sound very exciting or enthusiastic, but you know, that's sort of my plan with this one. Next book for this month is Axioms by Lindsay Ellis. So maybe you know Lindsay Ellis because she is a YouTuber and she makes these amazing analytic videos, mostly about movies and TV shows. They're very long, but I love to watch them. Like, she makes amazing videos and she has recently come out with her first fiction novel. It is called Axioms and it takes place in 2007, but at the same time it's also sci-fi. It's about a girl, what was her name again? Cora, a girl named Cora, and she makes first contact with aliens, I guess. And it's about the consequences from that, and apart from that, really don't know much about the story, but you know, it's funny that it takes place in 2007, so like about 13 years ago. I'm very curious about this one, and I will admit that I mostly bought it because I love Lindsay Ellis as a YouTuber, or like more as a video essayist, because that's mostly what her videos are. They are essays. And I'm just going to see if I love her book as well. I mean, she does know a lot about stories and everything, so my hopes are high, even though I haven't heard a lot of reviews about it yet. But that might be me, because I haven't been watching a lot of booktube lately, so that one might be on me. Then, because I mentioned I wanted some easy books, some books that would be a bit more lighter, I guess, I also want to read My Calamity Jane by Cynthia Hand, Brody Ashton and Jodie Meadows. This is the third book in the Lady Janey series, and every single book in this series is about a different historical Jane. But they take the story, make it really funny, and just twist it around and make it very unbelievable, but they manage, or like they say that they are telling the true story of the historical Jane. So I don't know, the first one was about Lady Jane Grey, the second one was about Jane Eyre. This one is about Calamity Jane, who was supposed to be, I think she was like an outlaw in the Wild West, but I don't really know anything about her. I will admit that it's not my area of expertise, like this kind of history, even though this book isn't history. This book is just hilarious. At least I hope so, because the first two are very funny. And that is why I want to read it, because like the first two, I love them so much, especially My Lady Jane is one of my favorites. It is hilarious, it is so funny, it will make you laugh. I hope this one is funny and a bit lighthearted as well. Like, these books are not meant to be taken too seriously. So that is why it's on my TBR for this month. Like, it is big, but I know from experience that these books aren't very like hard to get through. They're just funny, they're silly, and I love that. So I hope My Calamity Jane will be good as well. So fingers crossed for that. Then I have a book that has been on a TBR before, but I still have not read it, and that is The Fifth Season by N.K. Jemisin. I don't remember if this one was on my July TBR or August TBR, or I don't know, September TBR maybe? I don't know, I don't remember. I do know that I have not read this yet, and I really want to, because lots of people have been reading it lately and they have been loving it. The premise of this book is very hard to explain. Like, I just cannot really seem to understand what it's about. All I know is that it follows, I think, two people, and it's sort of dystopian slash fantasy. From what I've heard from the reviews, this book is very much take it as it comes, and it's hard to explain if you have not read it yet. So that's how I'm going to do it as well. I'm just going to start reading it and take it as this book presents itself. But yeah, I just really feel like something like this, something unpredictable, I guess, something that I just don't know what to expect with. And also because I trust all the positive reviews so much, I do really want to read it. It's also the first book in a trilogy, and I do own the entire trilogy. So I really hope I will love this one, but yeah, my expectations are high, and I think that will be alright. I think this will going to be a good one. Another book that has been on my TBR since last Christmas, so it has been a while, that I really need to read is The City of Brass by S.A. Chakraborty. Probably really butchering that name, I'm sorry, I'm the worst with pronouncing names, but anyway. This is a fantasy book. It takes place in the 18th century in Cairo. So it's 18th century Cairo, but it's also filled with magic and fantasy elements. And the main character, from what I've gathered, is a girl named Nari, who is trying to like survive there. And I don't know much about the story apart from that. But this is again a book, or book series I should say, because it's a trilogy, but this is a book that has been so highly praised, so very much beloved. I think the latest book in this series came out somewhere this year, not too long ago, but correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe it has been a while, because again, I've been the worst keeping up with new releases and reviews and everything. But anyway, I still have to start with The City of Brass, because it does sound very amazing, and somehow I'm getting in the mood for some more fantasy. It has been ages since I've read a good fantasy. Not really like a good fantasy, just a fantasy in general. It's not like I've been reading lots of bad fantasy books, I just haven't been reading any fantasy at all. City of Brass, it sounds so atmospheric and beautiful, and I cannot wait for it. Like, now that I'm talking about it, I get more and more excited. So fingers crossed again that this is going to be a good one. I mean, I hope that with all the books that I pick up, because nobody ever hopes that a book is going to be really bad. But it sounds beautiful, so yeah, again, hopes are high. And then for the last book on my October TBR, I have again one that I would categorize under like an easier book, at least for me. And that is The Last Book of the White by Cassandra Clare and Wesley Chu. And this is the second book in the Magnus Bane and Alec Lightwood series, which is sort of like a side series to The Mortal Instruments and all the other Shadowhunter book series. So I've read the first book in the series, I think last year or so, and I know that with these books, I like them, but I don't love them. I know they're perfectly entertainable, they're fun, they're nice, I love this world, so I will love any story that is set in this world. But I also know that these books, like the series is called The Eldest Curses, it's just not my favorite series in this world. It's fun, it's nice, but for me these books don't add a lot for me, because at least the first book was like a midquel in between book 3 and 4 from the Mortal Instruments. So nothing that major can happen if the rest of the series is already written. Like, you already know what's going to happen next. This one takes place, I don't know, I think after the Tales of the Shadowhunter Academy. Again, we do already know some of the events after that, so I mean, I know it's going to be fun. I always love seeing these characters from the Shadowhunter world again. So that is why it's a perfect book to be a bit easier. I know I'm going to love it, I'm going to enjoy it. Well, not love it, like it, as I said before. And I know I'm going to have a good time with it, but I also know that it's not going to like rock my reading world. It's not going to be mind-blowing or anything. So I want to read this one. Maybe I will listen to the audiobook, because I usually really enjoy the audiobooks of the Shadowhunter books. So that's why this one is on my TBR. So yeah, this is one that I know is not going to be a 5-star read, but that's actually what I want from it. I don't want it to be a 5-star read, if that makes sense. And that was pretty much it for my October TBR, but of course it can always change, because I always change my mind about things and I never manage to read all the books on my TBR, so who knows if I'm going to manage to read any of those, but let's stay optimistic and just hope that it will happen. And then I also guess that's pretty much it for this video, and I really hope you liked this video. If you did, maybe go subscribe, like, give it a thumbs up or whatever, leave a comment. I would always really appreciate that. And I hope you will have an amazing reading month in October and just an amazing month in general. And hopefully I will see you again very soon in one of my next videos. Bye!